welcome to the 11th OSDI. Plan today is I'm going to talk a little bit about stats for the conference, and my co-chair Hank is going to give out the Jayla Pro Best Paper Awards. So first, some stats. This is a record OSDI on a number of dimensions. Record number of paper submissions, 228. Record number of papers appearing here, 42. And thanks to you all, record number of attendees. We're actually now over 580 with some walk-ups today, which is way over a record. So if you're wondering why it's so crowded, we're 50 people over the previous largest OSDI. One thing I wanted to highlight a little bit, and this is something Hank and I thought a lot about when we were starting out on this journey, was the number of submissions to OSDI has just steadily gone up year after year. So I'm showing you the last 10 OSDIs. Early on, when I started getting involved in OSDI, 100 submissions was about the norm. Now we're well over 200, and as you can see, the rise is pretty steady. On the other hand, the number of papers appearing in the conference hasn't changed that much over the years. So early on, the acceptance rate for OSDI was around 20%, and it kept going down and down and down to the point it was around 11 or 12%. And this was really bad for the community in a number of ways. I think it puts OS folks at a competitive disadvantage on the job market. I think it makes the reviewing process really picky and overly negative because you have to focus on finding those 25 papers. And we set out and we said, let's try and change this. So we set a goal of having 40 papers at this year's OSDI, and the PC really took to this goal. And we're still not up to 20%. We're around 18% or so, but I think that's much healthier for the community. Our review process was pretty standard. We had 3 rounds of reviews. We had an electronic discussion that was pretty vibrant after all the rounds, but especially after round 1 and 2. And I'll talk a little bit about this later, but we added an author response rebuttal after the 3rd round. We had a day-and-a-half PC meeting in Seattle, and we used almost the entire day and a half to come up with the program. We basically were discussing up until the last few minutes. And we had 11 papers that we designated as quick accepts based upon electronic discussion, and those had pretty minimal or no discussion at the PC meeting. And that freed us to discuss another 66 papers at the PC meeting, of which we took 31. 3 review processes changes I wanted to highlight. First, I already talked about, we challenged the PC to accept more papers, and they came through for us. Second, we moved to an ERC model, which has been used in some other communities, and instead of a light PC. And the idea here was really to try and broaden the base of people that reviewed papers for OSDI, while still giving people enough papers to be able to calibrate. So you notice that we have over 25 people on the ERC, and this allows us to reflect the breadth of our community and draw from a large amount of expertise, while keeping the review load on the PC relatively reasonable. Our PC members still reviewed over 30 papers on average, but that's down from 45, which is just a crushing review load. And one thing we did do that I thought was a really nice experiment is we added an author response phase, so we let people give factual rebuttals. And to be honest, this helped some papers, and this hurt some other papers. One thing I think it really did was improve the fairness of the process. It meant that missing a citation or having a chance misstatement in your paper, or something that could be easily corrected, could be addressed during the rebuttal phase, and a lot of authors took advantage of that. On the other hand, there were some cases where things were pretty vague in the paper, and the response came back, and the vagueness actually turned into something that the reviewers thought might be wrong, and they turned out to be right. So it did wind up hurting some papers. But I think overall it was a very successful experiment, and the rebuttals were used a lot in the final electronic discussions, and they were also used a lot, referred to a lot during the PC meeting. I want to thank a number of people. First of all, PC did a tremendous amount of work. Almost every one of these people went over 30 reviews. And reviewing an OSDI paper, I will tell you the load is much higher than just the paper count, because the quality submissions is so high that almost every paper in your stack really requires a lot of careful thought, and that's not true in all conferences. Oh, Hank suggests, and I think this is a good suggestion, could the PC please stand so we could thank them for their work? So thank you, everyone, for that. In addition, I'd like the ERC to stand, the ERC members in the audience. So The ERC, everybody on the ERC reviewed at least 8 papers. And one thing that was really gratifying is when we got a lot more papers than we expected, we went back to the ERC and said, could you do more papers for us? And a very large number of them came back and said, sure, give me a few more papers and I'd be happy to help you out. So that was a tremendous help. Our poster chairs, Alan and Roxana, have put in a tremendous amount of work to organize the 2 sessions that you see here, and that's on top of their PC duties already, so they've really done yeoman's work there. And then finally, the steering committee has helped put this conference together. All of the organization, the hotel, the venue, the reception, that's all due to the tremendous dedication of the USENIX staff. So if you see those folks around, please thank them for how smoothly things go. It really makes running a conference as a PC chair a lot easier. Finally, I want to thank our sponsors. So we got a tremendous amount of support. Then this is what allows us to have the food during breakout sessions and posters and receptions and really makes the conference a vibrant and pleasant venue to attend. Our sponsors also were very generous in supporting students. I think we had 125 or more students that are attending thanks to the generous sponsorship that we've gotten for this conference. I also want to thank everybody who submitted a paper and everybody that did an external review and helped us out in the review process. And finally, thanks everyone for coming. As I said, we have by far a record attendance at this OSDI, and that's really thanks to the quality of this community. A few details here. First of all, speakers, please find your session chair and report to your session chair in advance so that they can give you a proper introduction. We have a number of birds of the feather sessions that are already there, and you can designate your own, create your own BOF, and put it up on the bulletin board for the next 2 nights. And so BOFs are often a nice way to spend the evening among people that are thinking about the same problems that you are. Speakers and authors, please email a PDF of your slides to USENIX directly after your presentation so you don't forget. And you'll notice that will allow us to get the slides up there on the web, and we're also going to have the talks videotaped. Students, please meet by the registration desk tomorrow, 3:45. We're going to take a huge group photo of all the students at the conference, and I think that'll be kind of fun. There are a number of activities. So first of all, there are 2 poster sessions, Monday sponsored by Google, Tuesday sponsored by Microsoft Research. And at the poster sessions, almost every author of an accepted paper will be at one of those 2 sessions, so you can go and ask additional questions. In addition, we have a lot of fabulous posters detailing additional work in the field that are going to appear there. And I've already talked about the BOFs. And there'll be food, yes. One big schedule change. So we have so many people, we have outgrown our lunch venue in the sense that we can no longer fit everyone into a single room. We normally give the awards, the Weiser Award, Ritchie Award, and so on, at lunch. We can't do that because everyone can't see that. So what we're going to do is immediately after the final morning session on Tuesday, we are going to stay here and we are going to do the awards, the Ritchie Award and the Weiser Award in this room, and then we're all going to go to lunch. So make sure you're here because that's always a fun thing to see what's going on. There are a number of upcoming USENIX events. Please submit to them. And now I'm going to turn it over to my co-chair, Hank, who's going to give out the Jayla Pro Best Paper Awards.
Thanks, Jason, and welcome. Many of you knew Jay. Jay was a member of this community and really was responsible to a large extent for creating OSDI, and we lost him to cancer in 2008. So in his memory, we've created the Jayla Pro Best Paper Awards, which have been given out for a number of years. This year, we decided to give 3 awards, and I'm going to tell you what they are and ask those authors to come up to get a check from Jason. So in the order in which they'll be presented, okay, first I want to tell you a little about the process. We did this, the selection was done after the camera-ready copies were complete. So the committee who made the decisions got to see the final versions of the papers. So we asked the PC, after the final camera-ready versions were done, to nominate papers. We got actually a relatively small number of nominations from the committee, although many of the papers were nominated many times. So there was a special subcommittee, and I thank them for volunteering, Alan Clement, Jeff Volker, and Emmett Witchell. They read all the nominations, and we came up with the final winners. In the end, we selected 3 papers, as I said. The first one is Arrakis. The operating system is the control plane. Simon Peter, Jilin Lee, Irene Zhang, Dan Ports, Doug Wu, Sarvan Krishnamurthy, Thomas Anderson, and Tim Rothko from UW and ETH Zurich. And this paper will be in the next session.
There's a camera.
We're going to need a bigger podium next year. The second is IX, a protected data plane operating system for high throughput and low latency. Adam Belay, George Prekas, Anna Klimovic, Samuel Grossman, Christoph Kozarakis, and Edward Bugnon from Stanford and EPFL. Please come up.
Congratulations. Thank you.
This paper will also be in the first session. So we will have dueling Best Paper Awards. And the third Jayla Pro Best Paper Award winner is Shielding Applications from an Untrusted Cloud with Haven, Andrew Bauman, Marcus Pinato, and Galen Hunt from Microsoft Research. Apparently, Andrew is using the weak excuse that his wife had a baby at 6 yesterday, so to not attend.
So thank you all, and now we're